Guys, straight off the Netflix auction block, we have biracial fallen NFL star Colin Kaepernick here to guide his people into the promised land in his new 6-part special, Colin in black and white. Yes, Colin Kaepernick. Guys, you haven't heard me talk about Colin Kaepernick in years. Some of you might remember Colin Kaepernick. He is the bright bulb who took the advice of a white man and decided to kneel, a position of submission on the sidelines while the national anthem was being played at football games. He did this, he says, to call attention to the ongoing problem of police brutality. Oh no, that's misleading. The police brutality, I should say, that is directed solely towards black people. Okay, completely ignoring the larger problem that is police brutality that affects everybody, including white people in sheer numbers greater than black people. Well, it's about proportion. Okay, if that's the hill that you want to die on, that's fine. That's what Colin Kaepernick did. Okay, so in his words, in his mind, we're to believe that he did this to call attention to the ongoing problem of police brutality towards black people because we're at war. There's a war going on and we're being hunted. And that's the narrative that you want to send to people. Okay. Never mind the fact that people like my grandfather who fought in World War II would stand every time until the day that he died for that national anthem. You know, all of the Tuskegee Airmen, all those people. But we're not going to get sidetracked on that. This is what this man decided to do. And that's fine. Everybody cheered for it. Beyonce came out and shook her little blonde-haired ass all over the place, you know, for black empowerment and stuff like that and shit like that. Okay, so fine. That's what they did. Okay, so anyway, the problem is, okay, you guys might remember Colin Kaepernick. Yes, that Colin Kaepernick, okay? So, anyway, we're going to talk about this shit. This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. So anyway, getting into this 6-part mini-series that Colin Kaepernick has on Netflix, Colin in Black and White, which I believe was produced or directed by Ava DuVernay. Okay, let's get into that because what is going on here is Colin is making news the way he likes to do, another attention whore, mind you, okay, because he likened the NFL drafting process to the auction block, to slavery, okay, and guys, you know, if you've been watching my channel long enough, I addressed how I feel about Colin Kaepernick years ago. I think he's a fraud, okay? And I'm not going to apologize for that. I don't give a fuck what he does. I'm sure that, you know, there's some philanthropy going on. You know, he gives, he does this, he does that. You know what? A lot of people give to the black community. A lot of people do, okay? Not everyone who gives to the black community is a friend to the black community. It's almost like a trope at this point. You know, it's a cliche. Whenever you see like a drug dealer movie and everything, and they're tearing the community apart, there's always that one scene in that movie where they're giving out turkeys on Thanksgiving to earn the love of the people. Oh, we love you, drug dealer, because you give us turkeys and cranberry sauce. God bless us, everyone. So at this point, I don't trust fucking handouts, okay? And you would think that at this point, in our history, we would know something about trusting handouts. You know, it's handouts. It's the welfare state. It's come and get this shot. This is good for you. You know, but no. You know, people are going for this. And so on social media, people are singing the praises of Colin Kaepernick. Plus, you know, he looks the part. Colin Kaepernick went way out of his way to change his whole appearance, because you look at pictures of Colin Kaepernick back in the day, Mr., you know, the biracial brother that he is, and there's nothing wrong with being biracial. Biracial people are among the most beautiful in the world, okay? And that's fine. You know, there are white people, there are black people, there are all types of people, beautiful people, okay? But he went well out of his way to stereotypically try to identify as black people, but not just black people from the 70s when there was activism going on in the form of, you know, Black Panthers and things like that, the big blowout afro. And he's got a magnificent afro, guys. Don't get me wrong, he does. You know, if my hair grew like that, I still wouldn't fucking walk around that way, okay? Because the hair is not That's not your status symbol. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be. That is an image. What he's walking around looking like is fucking Undercover Brother. I don't know if you guys remember that movie back in the day with Eddie Griffin, that he stole his whole fucking look from Undercover Brother. You know what I mean? So he's walking around, you know, right on, right on. You know, the only thing he's missing is the fist afro pick. You know what I mean? But that's him. You know, the black leather jackets and shit like that. Nick, dude, you're in 2021, okay? So anyway, this is Colin Kaepernick. This is what he does. So he puts himself out there like the biracial savior of black people. You know what I mean? But like I said, it's relevant that I keep saying that it's 2021 because in 2021, if there's one message among many that you would think people would be at this point in our history pushing onto the people that we need to hear, it's true self-empowerment. It's true, self-accountability. But no, that's not what we're getting from this person right here. You know, and why am I talking about him? Because he's the one that's out here, making these comparisons between the NFL draft and slavery. Slavery. Guys, come on. How are you going to fucking let this guy get a pass for saying some dumb shit like that? You know, in the NFL, they're making millionaires out of black people. You know what I'm saying? When did that ever happen? These guys are living in houses that are like 10 times larger than the average people. It's like I go to a job every day, working over 12 hours a day, wearing a dirty ass uniform, nothing glamorous about that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm compromising a lot more for a lot less than what these NFL people are doing. It's called fucking making a living, okay? And I do it proudly to take care of my son and my family. This is what I do, my responsibilities. All right? Yes, people jokingly compare the job, the 9 to 5, the ball and chain. You know, you compare that to slavery. This is true. But this dude is being enabled by Netflix to put this message out there where they literally show black people going from the NFL draft and they morph them into black slaves being whipped and being on an auction block. That visual right there is practically fucking criminal. You know how many black kids out there my son plays football. You know, my son possibly dreams of a day when maybe he can be in the NFL. And he's good, and he and his friends, they're having a great time. There's nothing wrong with it. Then you get a guy like this who likens you to slaves. All right, let's see what this guy has to say, all right? Let me just read this bullshit right here. Let's see. Former NFL player Colin Kaepernick's new Netflix series is generating conversation over a scene comparing the league's draft process to an auction of enslaved peoples. In his 6-part drama series, Colin in Black and White, Kaepernick likened the NFL draft process to enslaved peoples being examined before being sold to bidders. What they don't want you to understand is what's being established is a power dynamic, said Kaepernick, who was selected by the San Francisco 49ers in the 2011 draft. Before they put you on the field, teams poke, prod, and examine you for searching for any defect that might affect your performance, he added. No boundary respect, no dignity left intact. Right on, brothers. The episode then shows a group of NFL hopefuls played by black actors moving from a training field to an auction block. The NFL did not immediately respond to people's request for comment. And of course, I'm reading that from people.com. All right, so shout out to them. All right, but so there you have it. There's Colin Kaepernick's view of what this is. Okay, so like I said before, for him to have a message like that, right, in the context of a pandemic, which is targeting everybody pretty much, but when you have these mandates about to come down, and guys, they are coming down, I should say. You saw me do a video a couple of months ago talking about how we're right back where we started. Black people are among the least vaccinated in the country right now. Okay, so when these mandates start going into effect and people start being taken out of restaurants and gyms and movies and telling them they can't be here, once again promoting segregation, and now we have kids getting jabbed and they're telling them that if you're not vaccinated, you can't go into school. So once again, vaccinating the schools. Remember, guys, 1+1, black people among the least vaccinated, okay? So When you see that type of setup going on, where black people are now faced with being segregated, once again, being denied health care, quality education, a quality of life, once again, you have this clown-ass motherfucker who's out here telling black people that, being a millionaire is like being enslaved. Get the fuck out of here. And people are cheering for this. Yes, Colin, tell the truth. Stick it to those white people. Once again, blinded by the fact that you're so far up in white people's ass, you can't even see when you're being set up by this biracial bitch. All right? Yeah, I said it. I don't care. I'm going all the way in, guys. If I'm going to talk about it, I'm going all the way in. Because it doesn't take a genius to see what the real problem is here. Black people, black children being killed in record numbers by gun violence that's being perpetuated onto them in their own community by their own so-called people. But you want to talk about what's going on in the NFL that is making millionaires out of black people. Okay, you have a problem with the fact that in a physical sport, they have to go through the rigors of a physical inspection. You don't think Tom Brady had to go through that bullshit? You don't think Eli or Peyton Manning had to go through that? Joe Namath? You don't think this has been in effect for as long as football has been in effect? You know what I'm saying? Yo, you got to see what's going on here, guys. All right, but we have at least one person that I know of who is speaking out against this, who is in the NFL or was also in the NFL. And this person would be former NFL player Jack Brewer, who tore into Colin Kaepernick on Monday after the American activist and former quarterback compared the NFL draft process to slavery. What did Jack Brewer say? Jack Brewer, a black man, said, "This new Colin Kaepernick doctrine that's penetrating the minds and hearts of so many of our underserved black kids across America is the single largest threat to black men in the United States of America. Because right now, folks are thinking that they're victims and they're living in the most prosperous, most opportunity of any country in the world. You have kids that are hopeless, and then you go out and push this mentality, and you're supposed to be someone that's a leader. Think about the movement that this guy started, the opportunity that he had, that he could actually come and promote positivity to young black men, telling them how great this country is. He doesn't have that spirit in him. He has an evil, anti-American spirit, and it's sick and disgusting. One more thing, that even Netflix, someone that big and popular, would even put something out like that to penetrate the mind of these kids should be illegal." Bravo, Jack Brewer. I agree 100%. Okay, you got this guy out here, and like I said, I have a son who's playing football, who has dreams, all right? I have to listen to my son. If he comes back and tells me that he saw some shit like this, I have to explain to him how wanting to be a football player and have aspirations and dreams, you're wrong for that because you're like a slave. You want to be a slave is basically what he would be asking me, a 13-year-old boy. Just like so many who are out here, just so this man can promote himself, this man who stays in character, who stays in costume. You mismanage yourself out of an NFL career by doing that dumb shit that you did. All right. And now you're trying to hustle your way into a better life. And in the meantime, you will sacrifice the black integrity and the black image, of the black man. This man right here was a true champion. All right. You're not him, Colin Kaepernick. You're not him. I said it years ago and I'm saying it again. I don't give a fuck who doesn't like it. Okay. This is my gospel. This is what I talk about. And I see the effects that this shit is having on the community. There's only one thing that's going to lift the black community up out of where we are. And that is self-love, self-empowerment, self-accountability. Just this October 16th, 1995, the Million Man March, a day that I made a video about this last year, a day that the black community forgets, a day when men across America, black men primarily, but there were white men too, I was there when I was much, much younger, stood up and said, we are accountable for ourselves. Nobody wants to talk about that. That was one of the most powerful things I've ever seen in my life. And the spirit of that lives within me. because I know that's what's going to lift us out of this shit. That's what's going to empower our children. But you, Colin Kaepernick, you fucking fraud. And I said that I wasn't going to go so far into this. I said I wasn't going to go, I wasn't going to go hard like this. But I can't help it, guys. And the video is getting long, so I got to end this. But it is what it is, okay? It's not the clothes that makes you a revolutionary and an activist. It's not the hair, okay? Hence why I'm not wearing one of my hats, okay? Making a point here, okay? It's fashion. All of that shit is fashion. It's image, okay? It's not all of that. It's what you have in your heart. It's what you have in your mind. It's what you have in your soul, your actual soul. Then you tend to tell the truth. Then you tend to not be afraid to tell the truth. You don't mislead the people that you claim to be helping. And it's not that hard to tell when you see the faces of the children who are dead in the streets. When you see the ODs, people, I just lost my cousin 2 nights ago to an overdose. I loved her. We grew up together. I remember when it all went wrong for her, when she was a beautiful little girl. She's been in pain her entire life, and now she's gone. A life not even lived. And you want to talk about your NFL? Fool, sit down. Sit down. Sit down. All right, guys. That's it. You can get in the comment section. You can tell me how you feel about this. You can like, you can share, you can subscribe. Catch me on Twitter. If not, I'll see you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.